All good to go.
Okay, very good. Then I, in the absence of our chairperson this morning, I will call our January 18, 2022 Lawrence County Commissioners meeting to order. Everybody please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Vanessa, would you please take the roll?
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Here.
Commissioner Vogel?
Here.
We have a quorum, then we will proceed. We are being live streamed, so anyone that would have any comments to be made through the public, you can email me at lspielvogel@lawrencecountypa.gov, and we will get them into the minutes for our next meeting. I don't see any row officers other than what we already have on the agenda for today, so we'll move forward from there. Also, next on the agenda, we have public comments. Anybody wishing to make a public comment? Yes, yes, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What can I ask for his support Morgan today? Is he well? Or
He's absent today.
he's just absent?
Yeah.
So I have a couple questions.
Sure.
Are the commissioners aware? Well, I know you're aware. Because you, in your office, keep a very nice log of the meeting minutes. Your books are bound and published, so that the public can come in and at any time be presented with the meeting minutes. And they are available online, which is wonderful. But the election board is also supposed to have bound meeting minutes so that the public can go in at any time and review those minutes. I have been in there 3 times and asked to see meeting minutes, and they cannot be produced. And I'm sure the commissioners are aware that I have a public records appeal for meeting minutes for the election board. And I understand Mr. Giovanni has been appointed as the interim director. Do you have a meeting scheduled coming up for the election board? You know, as far as discussions on the future election director or going forward? Is there any meeting planned at this point?
What we do with public comment is we take your comments, we will note and we put them into the minutes of the meeting. And if you wanted to schedule a meeting separately with either any one of us or at any point in time, you could certainly do so. But the object of the public comment is just to present the comments to us. And then we'll move forward with the meeting.
Okay, so
Okay.
just a simple question.
Sure.
Just can't answer it. It's difficult. Well, I guess that's as far as I can go then. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Well, let me say this in case you were intending to leave, and you're welcome to stay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Board of Elections did meet within the last week and a half and did name Mr. Germaini the director.
Yes.
He's no longer the acting director.
Oh, I thought it was just interim.
No, he is the director now. He takes Mr. Allison's place. I don't believe we have a meeting scheduled at this time of the Board of Elections. I don't think there's one that's been formally scheduled. It's essentially whenever the director comes to us and says, hey, we need to have a meeting for such and such a purpose. And then, of course, we put a legal ad in the paper indicating that the meeting is being held. Obviously, there will certainly be at least one meeting between now and the primary election. And one of the things we talked about at the election board meeting, was that a week or 2 weeks ago? I lose track of time.
Last week.
Was it last Tuesday? Thank you.
It was last week.
one of the things we talked about was the uncertainty right now as to whether or not the primary election is going to be held on May 17. It's currently scheduled for May 17, but because of what's happening in Harrisburg as it relates to redistricting of both the federal US House districts and then separately the Pennsylvania State Senate and State House districts. They're on two different tracks, if you will. But neither of them have yet been finally resolved and put into place. And there remains some uncertainty as to whether or not that will all get accomplished in time for the primary to be held on May 17th. So we're sitting here waiting to see the results of that or the outcome of that. We're planning as if there will be a primary on May 17th. But we're keeping the option open that based upon, again, what happens in Harrisburg may result in the primary perhaps happening a few weeks after that. But that all being said, I'm sure the Board of Elections will have at least one meeting between now and May 17th, possibly more. But yeah, I did want to make note that Mr. Germaini is now the director of that office.
If I could just make one comment then, is it possible to publish an announcement on the website when the election board meetings will be? Because not everybody gets the Newcastle news.
No, I have no.
They were on the website when the meetings happen. That's why I said if you wanted to meet with us separately, you could do that. Because one question leads to the next and to the next, and these things have already been handled and taken care of. And as Mr. Vogler already said, that there are so many things up in the air right now that we could have a lot of conversation on it. That's the reason why it was said, because we had already had a meeting. You know, it was published, it was posted, it was in the newspaper, it was on our website. So those are things that, seriously, if you do wish to contact and have a meeting, absolutely we can do that. Because there are a lot of things that are up in the air. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right, very good. We move on to fiscal and contractual, and the first on our agenda is repository property. A resolution for discussion and possible approval or rejection of repository property number 33-126300. Resolution states, it be resolved by the Lawrence County Commissioners that the board is authorized to execute a bid acceptance form accepting the bid made by Timothy McKinney in the amount of $500 for repository property located on Route 168 and having the parcel ID number 33-126300 Taylor Township. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I'll move, and then may I ask a quick question with that, please? Do we have a number for that?
This will be number 10.
Thank you.
Resolution number 10.
I'll move for approval.
And I will second.
And may I also make a
Open
comment,
for,
please?
yes, comments.
And I don't want to jump ahead of you. You were probably going to make note of this fact, but
I was.
then
No,
I'll.
I read your mind.
Go ahead.
I wanted to go ahead with the motion and then just say that it has been approved by the municipality. The supervisors have approved the bid acceptance, and so therefore we can move ahead with the motion to accept it. I do pay attention to meetings, Dan. Any further discussion? Hearing none? Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good. And that's the only one for that. We have no bids and proposals, no receipts. We do have a warrant registered January 11th, 2022. I will take a motion when ready.
I'll move for acceptance of the warrant register as submitted.
I will second. Any further comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Very good. And we'll get to our minutes, approval of the minutes. I'm gonna take a motion when ready.
I'll move for adoption of the minutes as submitted.
And I will second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion carries. We have no written communications. Time to reports, staff reports, anything other than what you guys are doing for. All right, so commissioner reports and comments. Morgan is not here, so I'm next on deck. And just briefly, hopefully everybody survived the snowstorm that was predicted, and oddly enough, the forecasters were correct. Yes, it was difficult. I just wanted to acknowledge those that had to be out on the road, whether it was for work or to clean those roads as part of their job. And nothing, as far as that goes, is easy. I know just for ourselves, I got a call from Frank Beccari yesterday that he had, some of the maintenance employees to get out there that generally drive our trucks and do the salting and the plowing. Some of them were stuck in their driveways and couldn't get out. So Jeff, hopefully 911 got taken care of the best that it could be.
Yeah, considering the source, definitely, and we take that in, we know,
Yeah.
Fortunate enough, we got all of our employees in.
Good. Right, I
That's
almost
the big
texted
thing,
you
we make sure we
yesterday.
try to get our people in some state after too.
Yeah, to see if
Because of what
you
was going on,
good,
so.
that you had enough to man the phones. I think that's great. But I think, when something like that happens, you can either, handle it in a positive way or, people handle it differently and maybe get more upset. And I just hope that everyone managed to get through their day and got where they needed to be. And if they did, that it was okay that they weren't there and they made arrangements. And that employers were understanding that their employees could not get out of their driveways and roads were not able to get plowed. They only have a certain amount of trucks in certain municipalities and they can only do what they can do. And the way that was coming down, it wasn't pretty. So I wanted to comment on that. And I know, Dan, if you were going to mention about the Martin Luther King service, the walk being canceled or whatnot, I'll leave that to you. But we celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, Commissioner Spielvogel referenced the fact that because of the heavy snow that we received, normally on Martin Luther King Day, there's a march that starts at the old West Side School over in the 6th Ward, and it goes down to the Diamond. And because of the heavy snow and the cold temperatures, the decision was made by the
Yes.
organizers to not have it this year. It was probably a wise decision for everybody's safety. There was an online service on Sunday evening. Pastor Hogan's from St. Luke's Church was instrumental in that, and I believe the NAACP had a role to play in that as well. And I participated by way of Zoom. It was a very moving tribute, very, very moving service. I want to follow up on Commissioner Spielvogel's comments about the fact that there are people that when we get weather like this, they have to respond. And it's not easy work. But I do want to give special credit to our maintenance department.
Yes.
I rolled in here this morning about 10 to 7, and the lots were cleared and the sidewalks were cleared. We did have jurors come in today. At least maybe approximately 80 of them.
Right.
So I do want to single out our maintenance folks for all the hard work they do and clearing off the sidewalks and the parking lots. And I believe that's all I have today. Thank you.
I think you covered them. Very good. Okay, we'll get to new business, and we have several resolutions coming before us. This is the Board of Commissioners from the District Attorney's Office. we have a resolution to implement the Savin program.
Yes.
Chrissy Morgan is here.
Yes.
And this is just a renewal, resolution for renewal for Sabin, which helps crime victims be notified when someone's in jail, released from jail.
Very important contract. Very important service. I know it's a renewal, yes, most definitely. I don't see any problem with that at all. Dan, any
No, thank
questions
you for
Chrissy?
bringing it to our attention. I think this time of year, it's an annual thing. And
Yes.
Happy to do it. It's
Okay.
number 11.
11, yes.
Okay, 011, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Any further discussion on that? I'll take a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve resolution 11 as proposed.
And I will second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now, we do have next on the agenda is motion to discuss and approve our COVID policy update for employee handbook. And I know we've had a lot of different discussion on this because it does change a lot. The CDC changes guidelines and procedures that, we follow the CDC guidelines as best as we can. And we also, we have extended, the one thing that I can say is that we have extended the policy to allow someone that has tested positive for COVID to receive 5 days off so that they could be home and make themselves well and not be exposed to others. As you may recall, our last, the CARES grant had specifics in there that we were obligated to do such things. And we did have it in our policy up and through the end of 2021. We, as a board, think that we still need to continue, especially, that we're not out of the woods with this yet and we don't know what's going to happen. And we're continuing to have the positive cases, even with the vaccines and precautions that people are taking. We felt it necessary that we should offer additional days for 2022 that will allow those that are infected employees that do end up getting COVID, allow them to have those 5 days paid as permissive absences, and the county is being proactive with doing that. So that being said, that's all I have. Dan, anything extra for you?
I do have a quick question,
Mhm.
maybe you or Joe can help me with this. Item 6, which is way at the bottom of page 2,
Yes.
states FFCRA benefits as of, and it states here December 31, 2020. Is that year accurate or should that read 2021? And I honestly don't know.
That's a very good question.
I think that FFCRA is correct in 20 because then we voluntarily gave days in 2021
Okay.
with that ending December 31st,
Of
2021. And now maybe that line needs to be added, or let me see what it says on the resolution. Hang on, let's see. No, it doesn't say, it's just very, very simply stated.
Well, our records would have that.
We have everything.
What you just
Yes,
stated would be in the
yes.
record.
Yes,
The other thing, and I think the language covers it, because we have a little bit of a gap here. As you just pointed out, the period did end on
Yes.
December 31 of
Yes.
2021.
Mhm.
And we're sitting here on the 18th of January. So in talking with the solicitor, there was a little bit of concern for that retroactivity for that approximately 3-week period of this calendar year. But I think when it states here, Lawrence County is voluntarily granting employees 5 cumulative days of permissive absence within the calendar year 2022.
Right,
I would say that covers it because then it would
Yes.
cover starting January 1.
January 1.
So I'm comfortable with
Okay, if
that.
you're comfortable,
Yeah.
otherwise we could, we could amend, but I think if you're comfortable, I am as well.
Yeah, and then the solicitor has said,
Right,
that at least he said to me, and I'm hoping maybe he said it to the too.
Yes.
This would, for this gap that started on January 1, so to speak,
Yes.
till today of our adoption,
Right.
the people that fell in that gap will fall
Yes.
under this. Is that your
Yes.
understanding?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
thank you both.
okay. I'm good with that if you are.
I am, thank you.
Okay, very good. And we'll make this 012. Okay. I will take a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I will second. If no further discussion, Vanessa, call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
Excellent. And we have, I see him on my peripheral vision, our Public Safety Director Jeff Parrish here to discuss what will be Resolution 013. Okay, what are we?
Good morning. What this resolution is for, is as we just finished up with our hazard mitigation plan for the county. That has now been approved through FEMA and everything else. We did that first, we have to do that every 4 or 5 years. It's actually almost a 2-year process. What we are looking at with MCM Consulting, they're the vendor, the consultant who the past 2 years has done this as a professional service for us. They do a lot of the other ones in our whole region. What they have and what they're offering is an annual maintenance plan. Instead of trying to jam everything in a 1.5 or 2 years to get all these meetings together, to look at all the updates, continue to go through it. This is a yearly maintenance plan that is broke down, like I said, starting this year.
Mhm.
It actually is going to help the process as we go through, and Indiana County is utilizing it and really loves it. We weren't aware that they had this feature or this option for us to do this until just after we were working on this plan this year. So our proposal would be that we enter into a contract with MCM to start the annual maintenance of our hazard mitigation plan. It's paid yearly. Of course, it's broke down into 4-year payments. And it accounts for, we're $7,000, almost $8,000 a year. But our whole plan, whenever we do it all at one time and try to jam everything in a year's time or less than a year's time, and we're looking at, I think we were at 40s, 50s, 60 something thousand, so I can't know exactly. And that was always a matching grant. We would pay for part of it with FEMA, and they would chip in for some too, so it was a matching. We actually had money in our budget from last year whenever we finished up the project that we can pay for this year without having any more into our fund. We
You
still
read
have.
my mind, Morgan may not be here in body, but he's here
I
in
already
mind.
took that into consideration last year, and we had that, we sort of tagged it, we kept it in our hazard mitigation line item that we had to carry over this year, at least to pay for this first year. And I've been in contact with Amy McKinney from planning,
Okay.
because we work hand in hand.
The
over
process,
hazard
right,
mitigation.
right.
And we have also applied for another grant earlier this year, I think last month or a couple months ago, we were looking at this other hazard mitigation grant that's out there that would also encompass this, so we might even get money back from the grant to pay for this. But even if we don't, I mean, we're looking at $7,000 to $8,000 a year that we put in our budget for that. But again, this year it is covered, so.
And it is something that we have to do. We're
We-
required by law to do it,
Yes,
so.
Yeah, we either do it
Yeah.
now in little stages like this and then have the big meeting at the end, or we try to cram it all in all the meetings in once a month and
Right.
within 6-8 months time, try to do it all. This would actually take place, I mean, like I said, starting now, but there's also other plans or other projects that are out there that municipalities can be made aware of, or Shenango Township's a big incident out there with the trailer parking and flooding. We're working with them trying to get to see if we can use some of this funding for that also,
Okay.
for the hazard mitigation, and that's the main thing about keeping the plan up to date.
Yes,
But it's one of those things, either we pay a big price and try to jam everything in a year or two,
right.
or we constantly keep it maintained throughout the time, which will make it a lot more streamlined whenever it's time to do it again. If that makes sense.
It makes sense. And let me ask you this, is this, all of you municipalities have to have, is this fall into line with they have to have their plan? I remember at a meeting where some municipalities had to be roped, hand walked through the process.
Yes.
And I remember
There
you
are still
saying that,
Yes.
until that time comes where they need to have that plan and then the plan is not there and then the issue does not get paid for, So I think actually doing it yearly, just thinking off the top of my head, doing it yearly brings that to light. If there is an incident happening, like the trailer park, and I'm sure the Shenango supervisors are on top
Oh,
of
they are
everything there.
on that, yes.
That they, maybe one of those municipalities that are a little reluctant to commit to doing this plan will, you can say, do you understand,
Yes.
Shenango was able to get this funding because of their plan they submitted.
Yeah, and
Yes.
thank God, I mean, we don't use
Yeah.
the hazard mitigation a lot, which is a
Right.
good thing.
Right.
But we do we're prone to a lot of flooding. And that's part of it where it comes into play also, but any type of disaster and hazard mitigation,
Yes.
it is there. If the municipality does not approve the plan, then they are not available for funding. And we try to get 100%, and I think this year we did get 100%. The last plan that we did, there was a couple that held out, whether it's for their, and it's not obvious, they didn't do it on purpose, it's either they didn't know about it, or it was just, people involved dropped the ball. It's just one of those things that we reach out, and what would happen is that they would say, hey, can you help us with this? I mean, we're gonna help,
Right,
but in order to be eligible to get funding, then sorry, but you have to approve, you have to be part of this process
Right.
to do it, because
Yes.
we want everybody's input. Because the more projects that we put in here that we can identify, that opens up a lot more avenues for more funding
yes.
for those municipalities. I mean,
Right.
we don't get any money, of course, in the county, we don't have any facilities like that, but we're just doing it for all the local municipalities, and we do the major hard work and getting everything done for them. All they do is adopt it and sign off on it.
Yes.
when they're
Yeah.
done, so.
There you go. Okay, very good. Dan, anything?
I'm fine.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you so much. And we will, hearing no further comment, I will take a motion to accept resolution 2022-013.
Also move.
I will second. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And then the next on the agenda is the assessor's office that I believe, I don't know that we are in order to move forward on that, so I believe that it's necessary that we table that motion for now. Take a motion to table
And that
resolution.
request was made by the
Right,
assessor.
by the assessor,
So
yes.
I'll certainly respect his request, and I'll move that we table the matter that is on the agenda as it relates to the assessors, and hopefully next week we
We
can.
can address it from there then. And I will second. Any further discussion on that? No. Okay, Vanessa, call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, very good. The next one is, I know Michael was down here earlier, but as you stated, Dan, getting the parking lots cleaned for the jurors to come in. He is actually attending to the jurors for court this morning. There's a resolution, and it will be resolution 2022-014 to discuss and possibly approve to enter into a contract with Pitney Bowes for the postage machine at DJ Cartwright's office, getting my letters mixed up. And this is just a contract renewal of something that we do. They have to have their postage machines, and I don't see any discussion need for that. I will take a motion
I'll make,
to accept.
yeah, I'll make that motion.
Okay, and I will second it. No further discussion on that. Vanessa, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes?
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good. And then last but not least,
I know, you always say the best for last.
Mr. Michael
That's why you
Grifo
sit in
is
the back.
here.
Always
The
say the
contract.
Thank you.
And the paperwork, thank you so much. To, we have a resolution.
Yeah, and it's actually, we used them in 1819,
Okay,
so it's a new one, really, it's a renewal, but we have 2 kids there with adoption connection.
and we've used them before, as
Yeah.
you stated, and they do good work for us, so, I have no further comment. Dan?
No, I'm
Anything further
fine
from
if
you?
you're recommending. Joe has a question.
Can we just make an adjustment or amendment on the, at the bottom where we signed, it says 2021, I'm assuming
On
that
both
was
of them.
2022? Are you okay with us amending that?
2021 to 22.
Down here, on the actual,
Oh.
It's in the
yeah.
body
Oh,
of it
yeah,
where
yeah.
we would, now there be resolved purchase service
Yeah,
agreement,
no problem.
July 1, 21 to June 30th, 22. Do we have to take a formal motion on that or just,
I think we're
just
fine
correct that?
noting.
Because it's in the body that that's the time period that we want. Okay, very good. Good catch, Joe.
This time of year, I know when I write checks, you gotta
You
catch
have
yourself.
to make sure you know, I
This
know,
is an example of that.
absolutely. Okay, then, hearing nothing further, I will take a motion to accept resolution 2022-015.
I'll make the motion.
I will second. No further discussion. Vanessa, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good. We have no administrative transfers, no resolutions on the table to take off. No motions to amend, we have no ordinances. Our announcements, I will say, our next meeting is 10 o'clock for the commissioners' meeting, 10 o'clock, Tuesday, January 25th, 2022. And we do have a prison board meeting tomorrow here in the commissioners' room at 12 noon. I think that's it for announcements and, okay. Additional public comment? Okay. I will adjourn this January 18th, 2022 commissioners meeting. Thank you.
Alrighty.
Okay, very good. Oh.